This is why whenever I have had these Q&A sessions after like most milestones, I have gotten these questions so many times. Who inspired you to write? Why did you choose writing? Why did you become a writer and stuff like that? So I thought let's make a video out of it. So hello everyone, this is Anushka and I wholeheartedly welcome you to this video. If you are someone who is wondering what this video is going to be about, hold on. I'm going to spill the beans real soon. But first, let me introduce myself to people who don't know me or who are very new to the page. So, I am Anushka. I am a 20-year-old bachelor's in psychology student. I will be graduating in 2022, which I'm so pumped about. But that's not all. I'm also a writer. And this page is all about that. Yes, you guessed it right. To the people who have joined me for a month or two now, they know what this video is about. So hats off to you if you guessed it. This is the surprise video I was talking about on my stories a few days ago. Well, it's been a year that I started writing. I wrote my very first poem in 2020 on the 23rd of December. And I'm just so proud of myself because I've come this far and I never really thought that I would take writing so seriously, that I would actually be telling people that I'm a writer. It just blows my mind. So I've been a part of this community since 2 months now and I'm pretty new in things, like I'm still new to it. And this is why whenever I have had these Q&A sessions after like most milestones, I have gotten these questions so many times. Who inspired you to write? Why did you choose writing? Why did you become a writer and stuff like that? So I thought let's make a video out of it. And that was because of two prime reasons. First reason being that this video is going to help people who are going to be new to my page now. I can't just keep writing long stories or long captions under my posts to tell people why I started writing, because let's be honest, nobody reads those stories or those captions. Everyone just scrolls past it. And I was like, this way it would be better for those people who are going to join my page and who would be curious that why did I start writing, what happened, and things like that. Secondly, I wanted to do this video because I don't want to treat you like an audience. I don't want you guys to just come, engage with my content, go. And I don't want to be this person who just comes on your page, engages with you and just leaves. Because I am a person with real identity and I want you to, to see all that. And this video is going to help me build a connection with you guys because now you're going to see me for who I am. You don't really can guess what a person is like by just reading their work. You are always curious what this person is like and, how does this person look like in real and stuff like that. So this is why I'm doing this video. I'm building a connection with you guys. Or at least I'm trying to build a connection with you guys. So this video is going to be in two parts. First part is going to be the story time when I'm going to just tell you how I become a writer, how did I choose writing, and all those questions that you have asked me again and again. Second part is going to be about the Q&A. If you guys remember, I put up a story where I asked you guys to ask me any questions you had about my writing journey. And I've got a few responses and I shortlisted some of them to reply to. I have roughly 10 responses, so we'll get into them after I am done with the story time part. So let's dive deep into the story time part, which everyone was waiting for. So the story begins when I was 14 or 15, I don't know, and I was, into Pinterest. Pinterest was the highlight of my life. I didn't have a very sort of like active access to internet or social media, so I just used Pinterest, and it was something that I really loved, and I still do it every time when social media gets very overwhelming. I just go on Pinterest, spend some time, come back. Yeah. When I was 14 or 15, what I used to do was whenever I would feel frustrated or whenever I would feel angry, I would just go to this Pinterest and would just read quotes, however I'm feeling, like angry quotes or search up frustrated quotes, something like that. And I would just read them over and over again. I would really love them and I would save some of them to my phone as well. And sometimes when I am just studying or something like that, sometimes when the topic isn't very interesting what I'm studying, I would just waste my time by writing these plagiarized Pinterest quotes over and over again. I mean, plagiarized in the sense that I would read something on Pinterest, then I would come back and write them in my own words. So it's basically a little plagiarized because I would just change a little 2 or 3 words and the whole thing would be just the same. So that's how it was. At that time, I also remember that at some point I started writing a biography, an autobiography as well, which is just so hilarious when I now think back at it, because it was just, I don't know what I was thinking who I am. Like, why would someone read my autobiography? It just doesn't make sense. But I did try and wrote like 2-3 pages, and if you guys think that there wasn't any inspiration for it, there was. I was reading a lot of these what do we call them, these teenage romance books or something like that, and it had a choke hold on me at that time. Like, I would these format, I would follow the same format in what format these all things will be written, and I would just write my own story, and it felt so I don't know, after writing 4 pages I would feel so exhausted and I would just leave it as it is. Like, I'm like, this is it, 4 pages, it's enough, that's my book. So that's when a little writing sort of thing happened, but I didn't take up writing that seriously at that point because I was just looking for a distraction, or because I have always been very creative. If that is something that anyone is going to ask me, I would waste my time doing stuff and then make something out of it. Like, even if I'm wasting time, I'm doing something that is worth the while, for me at least, if not for the other person. But yeah. So this was very fun. This whole era was pretty fun. But then I left writing, I left doing all these things because I had to focus on my studies, and I just never looked back at it, and I never was like, oh, maybe I had a little like writing interest or something. No, I just didn't take it that what do we call it, that seriously, and I just left it like that. After leaving it all there, let's fast forward to 2020 now. So what happened in 2020 exactly that I needed to turn to writing and just let my words flow? I'll tell you. 2020 was the shittiest year I've ever had. It was just the worst of all the years, and I'm so sure there are so many other people for whom this year was just very shitty because pandemic happened, India went into lockdown, and even the whole world, not just India, the whole world was in lockdown, and there was just too many deaths, too much sorrow, too much grief, and while all of that was happening to the outer world, something on the personal level was affecting me. Although the news had always had like an impact onto me, I always felt so sad because of other people and their grief. I just am like this. I'm a crybaby. I cry at everything. I cry at looking at people crying. So of course this whole thing had like a lot of impact onto me. And there was also a personal incident that was happening during that time. So something happened in 2020 which involved social media, and it also involved a person that I knew, unfortunately. This thing was just the most heartbreaking, devastating thing I had ever been, like I've ever gone through something like this. It was just the worst I could even imagine, the worst. So it started to happen in March. It went on till like 1.5 years, and I was just like so freaking sad, so freaking humiliated during all the times that it was happening to me. I'm not going to go down into what the incident was, with whom it was. I'm not gonna name drop anyone or anything, because this video is for the people who care for me and for the people who look out for me. I'm not gonna feed someone's ego just because they want me to bring it back so they can have a sort of like control over me once again. So I'm not committing that mistake again. But if you want to perceive something, you are free to perceive it as you want. Also, because the damage has been done, I can't keep talking about it and making it a big deal. Of course, it was a big deal for me, but now it's just not. What matters to me are just people who are here on this account and who support me and who know me and who just love me for who I am and for the art that I create. And that's a big thing. So, in March, all of this thing happened. And so by the time in like June or July, I turned to writing because I was so hurt. And I just felt so shitty about everything and anything. So I turned to writing. I did 2-3 poems, 2-3 quotes or something like that. They weren't very fancy, they weren't very good. But because I was going through an incident and the people involved in that situation actually told me that I was writing about someone. And I shouldn't do this. By the time I was at a position where I was like, I will do anything that is required to shut these people. Anything. I was at that point in time. I was like, please, this is enough. I need my space. I need freedom from these people. So, what I did, stopped writing once again. I just had to. It was just one of the ways that I knew how to shut these people, because I knew if I will just stop writing, if I would just stop doing things that they feel are offending them, then I would do them and myself a great favor. And that's how I thought at that time. I was in that kind of mentality. I don't think I would stop right now. If someone says that I'm writing about them, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I am. You shouldn't be this shitty if you don't want me to write about you. So, in June and July, I stopped writing. We had like a little bit of this whole situation was keep going. So now we enter October. October is also my birthday month. And in 2020, it was the shittiest month that I have ever had. By the time in October, things went so bad. I swear, it went so bad. I just had to drop my swords. I just had to stop. Because there was so much manipulation, so much gaslighting, so much, this whole fake narrative going on that, you are crazy. You are the one who doesn't remember things clearly. But that happened and I shut down all my social media platforms, everything that I had, my Instagram account, which was which I worked so hard on. I had to shut it down just because it was my time to just give up. And I did give up. And I have no regrets about giving up because that was, I think, the best thing I've ever done. I was like, I'm done defending myself and I did the best that I could. It's time to just give up, and I did. So in October, I felt super shitty. I felt so bad. I felt so paranoid. I felt so, I felt so confused, frustrated, angry, sad, miserable, all at one point. And then November came, November went, and I was just in that same spiral. I was just going down and down and down that spiral. And then comes December. And guess what happened in December? Taylor Swift released her surprise album, Evermore. And it felt like she saved me. It felt like I was, just free falling and someone just wrapped their arms around me. That's how I felt. And I think now you guys know why Evermore is just an album that is so freaking important to me. Because this album was life-changing. This album was something that I love. That has literally helped me in my bad times. So after Evermore was released, I spent weeks binge listening to the whole album. My favorites were, Champagne Problems, Tolerated, and Coney Island, and, but there is just one song that stands out, and I'll tell you why. So on the 23rd of December at sometime around midnight, like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. on the 23rd, I wrote my very first poem, which was named To a Not So Nonsensical Ear, on the song Champagne Problems. This was the full-fledged poem I have ever written, fully formed poem. And now you know which song stands out for me from the whole album. It's Champagne Problems. I love that song. I love what this song has given me, my very first poem. To be honest, I don't think I still love the poem. I mean, I'm proud of it because if I hadn't written that, I wouldn't have been here talking to you guys after one whole year of writing. So I'm kind of very proud of it and I'm kind of very grateful for that poem. but I don't think that I really love it because I know that I can do better than that now. So, I mean, I've evolved a lot. So that is what that matters. And then since I wrote To a Not So Nonsensical Year, I wrote more and more and more and more poems. I kept writing every single month. I would have 4 or 5 poems ready. I would feel so excited about the next one that, okay, March is going to come. I need to prepare 4 or 5 poems. So let's just begin writing. And I felt so freaking, motivated and inspired. It felt like I finally have something to look forward to. Which is a win-win situation, because if Evermore wouldn't have been here, I wouldn't have been here talking to you guys too. So appreciate the album, especially you, Miss Swift. I got this poem, To a Not So Nonsensical Year, published as well to a magazine. I did not put it up in my bio or anywhere because as I told you, I do not like the poem that much now. But I think I'm going to share it with you, maybe. So this is all, you guys. This is how I started writing. This is how I became a writer. This is how Taylor Swift has a chokehold on me. This is how Evermore is my favorite album. This is how Champagne Problems is my stand song. So yeah, if it has answered all your most asked questions, are you guys happy now? I told you the whole story, what happened, why did I choose writing and stuff like that. I hope you do, because yeah. Okay, moving on to the next part of this video. It's going to be about the Q&A. So now, moving on to your questions that you sent in. I have shortlisted some of them and I have them here with me. I'm going to take them up one by one and you're going to see the question here and I'm going to answer them. So the first question is, has your words revealed more about you than you previously knew? And I would say yes, in some way. I didn't know before this time that I love depressing things, that I'm so sad on the inside, and that some things have really, hurt me a lot. And I've never talked about it publicly, but I do it in my poems now. So yeah, I mean, it did help me know how hurt I was and what things affect me and what things do not affect me. So it was kind of like a self-awareness. Next question is from my very favorite account. You know who you are. Who inspired you to write? You know the answer, don't you? It's T Swift. Where do you usually write? I usually write on my notes app because I get ideas at weird times and at weird places. And if the idea is not hitting me, I just use a paper and a pen, because that way I think it helps me a lot when I do not have a distraction, which is these notifications that come in. So both the things. Most times it's on the notes, sometimes it's on the paper and a pen. Classic way of writing. Okay, next is how would you describe the evolution of your writing over time from then to now? I would say that I'm pretty proud of how I have evolved. I mean, previously my writing was more naive and more inexperienced, and you could see that with my words, like the kind of words that I used to use, and it was just like I would try to channel my anger, but then I wouldn't have the correct vocabulary for it. But now I think I have, and I do a pretty good job at it, at conveying my emotions. So yeah, I think it did get better with time. Next question is, how did starting this page help you mentally? Well, this page helped me a lot mentally because before this, I had 2 failures in using a poetry account. Plus, it actually helped me get out of that negative space that I was in. Even though things were not over, but they were getting better, I was still in that, dark place. So you can see I'm happier now, I'm glowing. So you know how it helped me mentally. It really helped, my mental health, and I did get better. So the next question is, what is inspiring you these days? All of you all's content. I mean, I have met so many new people here, so many talented artists, and I read every one of yours content, even though I do not comment sometimes, and I just like and move on. Sometimes I do this, I know, because I can't engage with everyone at the same time. So sometimes I just, like your content and just go ahead, but I do read all of yours content, and I love it so much. I love every one of you so much. You all are some bunch of gorgeous people, and you're so talented, and you inspire me every single day. So if any one of you think like your work is not up to that mark, or you don't really enjoy what you're doing anymore, or you are doubtful about your work, remember me, guys. Remember me. You inspire me, so remember me. I love your work, even if you don't. Next up is, what inspires you to write besides Miss Swift? Okay. I get where this question is coming from. I really like Lana Del Rey and her poetry collection. I have read her poems and it has inspired me so freaking much. I can't even tell you. I also adore Halsey. Oh god, her songs are so freaking brilliant. The way she writes, her songwriting, everything, it's just too much on point. I love how she writes. I'm a huge fan of Halsey and Lana Del Rey. And of course, Taylor Swift. Okay, next up is, what is the best feeling about writing? Best feeling about writing is the fact that I can now channel my emotions, my hurt, my anger, and everything that I'm feeling. Even if it's happiness, even if it's sadness, I can, just channel them all into my words. So I think that this is some kind of like freedom. I no longer, hold myself in a cage, or my feelings in a cage that, you're not supposed to feel this way. I'm like, no, I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm allowed to feel a little angry over things. I'm allowed to hate someone who did wrong to me. And I have sort of like learned how to channel my bottled up emotions, and that feels freeing, and I feel like I'm free. So the next question is, when did you realize that you love to write and that you have the craft of writing? So when did I realize that I loved writing? There are two questions in your one question, which is pretty cool. So when did I realize that I loved writing? Well, it was, as I told you, in December 23rd. I was like, I love this. I'm feeling some kind of like, rejuvenation, or some kind of like spark inside me. And I'm like, oh yeah, this was something that I love to do. This is something that is going to be my purpose for the next 6 months. And I never knew that I would get this far. So yeah. Next up, one more part of your question is that to write and that you have the craft of writing. I realized this during my 12th board exam. I don't know, like whenever I would write these English exams, I was just unstoppable when it came to writing story writing or doing letter writing and stuff like that. And I was just, thoughts would come to me and I would just write. And, when I would just revise my paper, it felt like, wow, that's pretty cool. And this incident happened again. It repeated itself during my 12th board exams when I was like writing my paper. I was doing the letter writing. Was it letter writing or was it story writing? I don't remember, but it was something like that. And I was doing it and I was like, huh. And I was smirking to myself and I was like, I can be a writer, like maybe one day. And I didn't know the time would take me here. Like, this is so mind-blowing, to be honest. So yeah, I realized that I had a craft of writing, during my English exams, but I never took them seriously. So last question of this Q&A round. Last question, guys. What has been your favorite bit of creating this account? So what has been my favorite bit about creating this account is the fact that I can now creatively challenge myself. Because I read so many of you all's work and I feel so, inspired because of how beautiful your content is, and it always makes me want to do better. So whenever I come across, even you're the one who asked this question, Epiphany of Words, how you were the one unknowingly and indirectly you put me out of my comfort zone, and I did the Red series by getting inspired from you. So I think that this is the best thing about like starting this account, because previously I wasn't able to come across your content, but now I do come across so many of you all's work, and I love every single one of you and the way that you write. It just is mind-blowing, and it always makes me want to do better. So that has been my favorite bit about creating this account, being in this community, and sharing my heart with so many of you people. So yeah. So that's all for the Q&A and for the whole video. Thank you so much if you watched it this far. I am so glad that you did. I hope I wasn't boring in the video because I tried to be funny at times. I don't know. Let's make it a promise that I'll see you in my next video. If you guys want more of these videos, more of these chatty videos, and if you love me on the camera, then please comment down below. It would help your girl out. See ya!